And we're live. Hi, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you who are watching us from different parts of the world, either as a live session or as a replay. Thank you so much for joining us here. For all of you who probably know me and have forgotten and don't know me, my name is Ritu. Thank you so much for being here. I'm here again with another business live talk, and I'm so excited today because I have with me one of my dearest friends, sister, as well as an amazing superstar in the business. What is special? She has brought her better half along with her, and now they're a power couple in the business. So, hearty welcome to Dr. Susie and Louis.
Oh, thank you, Ritu. Thank you for actually, asking us to do this live interview. And this is the very first one for Louis, also. So,
Yeah.
who better to, crack on with this than with yourself?
Thank you. But I should say thank you, Louis, because I know it's your first time and you're such a natural at speaking. So I knew that, but at the same time, being your first time to say, fine, I'll do it. So thank you so much for that.
Thank
And Dr. Susie, because I know both of you are really busy with everything, business, home, work, the kid, everything. So thank you so much.
You're very
And
welcome.
now to the viewers, I'm sure this session is going to be amazing. I hope you get golden nuggets from this. So we're going to get into the interview right away. So, Dr. Susie, I'm sure a lot of people who probably browse through my page or even who know you will know who you are, what you are, and everything. So, for those who don't, let me just put it out there. Dr. Susie is a GP. She's in the UK, and Lewis is a chef by profession, freelancing at the same time. Both of them are involved in Christian missionary work, but though Lewis is the one who does it mostly. And they're really busy. They have a beautiful daughter, and they're settled in the UK. That's something about them. Now, for you, over to you, Dr. Susie. Obviously everybody who's going to obviously listen to this introduction that I gave about you thinking that my god, this lady is so busy. So what is it that led her into starting this online business, right? Obviously, because I obviously thought about that, and I'm sure everybody who's watching will have the same question. So what would you like to tell them?
Well, very, very common question. People keep on asking me the same thing. For me, it all started from COVID, I have to say, because till then, I never thought of doing anything else other than, my job and
Yeah.
just climb up the career ladder. But during COVID, Lewis was supposed to swap jobs. And what happened at that point in time is, they started, they announced the lockdown and he couldn't move
Right.
on to his new job. And because of that, it was like he was in limbo, like he didn't have a job at that time. And because he didn't have a
Hmm.
job, we weren't entitled to what we call the furlough scheme here in the UK at that point. So if
Okay.
for those who don't know what that is, if you were not allowed to work because of the pandemic, the government used to
Hmm.
pay about 80% of your salary.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, but obviously we weren't, because the Monday the lockdown started, he was supposed to start his new job. And yeah, it was one
Ah.
of those things that happened, and it just happened, and that meant like we had to survive on just my income.
Hmm.
Thankfully during that time, there was work. So I used to work 5 and sometimes 6 days,
Hmm.
just to make sure that we were comfortable and we could pay all our bills. But
Hmm.
as you can imagine, working 5, 6 days as a doctor, doing long shifts on calls is a very, very
Yeah.
stressful thing. And
Hmm.
that's what happened. Like, obviously, I became more stressed, I became more burnt out, and then I became angry, grumpy, everything that came with it. So not a very nice person to live with, but somehow he's still there next to me.
Yeah.
uh, so yeah, and I was like, and then people started getting unwell. because of COVID. And I was
Hmm.
like, I
Yeah.
am seeing patients. What if I get unwell? Then who would pay the bills? What if I bring COVID home? What if Louis
Hmm.
got COVID and, something, was to happen? So
Hmm.
that made me think like we need to be working smart and you
Yeah.
need additional streams of income. So that's why I started looking at additional streams of income. So I tried a few things before this, the business, but obviously this is what's worked best for me because of the flexibility.
I completely agree with the fact that pandemic has been a turning point in most of our lives. Like, that's exactly the point where even I had to reassess, what am I doing? What should I do actually? Like, I don't know if everybody knows, I'm a structural engineer. I used to work extremely hectic hours, but still kept going with it, despite not having to spend time with my little one, not being able to take care of myself, kept going with it because gave us all the benefits monetarily and otherwise. And the pandemic came and it was like, hello, you've got to reassess your priorities. And I was let go of my job and I was like, okay, now I get it. I'm supposed to do something, about it. And again, just like how you said, I had to search for an option where I can have my own thing and decide what I do with my time. So yeah, thank God for the online business, right, Dr. Susie?
Definitely.
All
It's a
right.
game changer for us.
Yeah, absolutely. God's blessing. So now, one thing that I sort of, that I'd like to look at before pandemic and after pandemic was, prior to pandemic, I was this person who was like, oh, I have a job. Okay, we just need to do budgeting, and that's it. I never thought of, okay, are there any other opportunities out there? What about, looking into how to do investments or finances or things like that? And then whenever I thought about it, I was like, I think I'm being too greedy. I don't need to do that. Colors, just remove it from my head. As the pandemic struck, was when I started thinking, oh God, was I, ignoring the fact that I was supposed to manage finances, which is I was always doing. But was I not looking into opportunities that were coming my way? Was I not wisely dealing with our financial situation, foreseeing that something could probably happen? And then I started looking into it. I was like, what are the scriptures saying about it? How do I look at it? Like, does God want me to do it? Because all of us usually have this way of thinking that if we think too much about money, that means we're being greedy, right? Oh, why are you doing that? Just focus on what you have, make the best out of it. Is the usual attitude that I had, at least. I don't know whether everybody did. And then I was like trying to think about it. And I know for a fact that you guys as well talk about this and have researched about it. And I want you, Dr. Susie, as well as Louis, to tell me what is your viewpoint about this? The fact that everybody thinks that it is important to manage finances and whatever opportunities that come our way wisely. But how does this tie up with us as Christians?
Sure. You want to start?
Yeah, I can just pull out from yourself the word you use, greedy. That's what we
Hmm.
think. That's what the lies that we've been hearing always. But I can pull up
Hmm.
one story from the Bible itself, where the little boy, he just had just two piece of fish. If you
Yeah.
really dig into that, it's just not even a big fish. It's a sardine, which was small, and 5 loaves
Yeah.
of bread. That
Hmm.
little boy didn't know that after everything he's going to get 12 baskets of remaining. So it is without a greedy, did he give it? No, he didn't give it
No.
with greedy heart. He just gave it because as for you and for me, we know what is the Bible says. We know who's Christ was. We know who he
Hmm.
is. He's everything for us. But for the
Hmm.
little boy, is nothing. Somebody who pulled him into the crowd. I can even say that he was just on his way somewhere to school or work. Some of the crowd
Hmm.
just dragged him into this scene,
Hmm.
but he sat, and something that he made that little boy to give it to God's hand, but he didn't know
Yeah.
that it's going to turn into 12 baskets. So that's what it always, when I think about this business and all this stuff, is like, it's not about greedy. It's like the way the God pulled the little boy into this scenario, in this thing. Because if
Hmm.
God would have thought, the one who blessed people in each people from manna would have fallen from sky. But this boy was, we speak still about this miracle just because the little boy had a heart to give what he
Yeah.
had. It was not significant. If he would have
Hmm.
said, "This is my mama's lunch who gave me for me, I've been safe, I'm going." But something
Hmm.
made him, something nudged him to give out in God's hand, and it
Yeah.
turned to be a miracle. So that's what I believe all of us, not only we three, whoever it is around the world, everybody has something in us that God has placed. If we are not going to give it to the one who created us, it will be buried within ourselves, and we won't be talking about the 5 loaves and 2 fishes where God fed 5,000 things. So that really
Hmm.
pushed me to understand that we have to give something to this world. Not that I was just born, lived an ordinary
Hmm.
life, and just go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's right. So it's like from when I think about that question which you've asked, what comes to me is the parable of the talents. You
Hmm.
know, it's a story in the Bible where the master gives basically a talent which could be interpreted as gold in some versions.
Yeah.
So it was actually
Hmm.
physical. So if you think of it, it's not even it was not like a figure of speech. It was
Figure
actually
of speech, right?
yeah, it wasn't even figure of speech. The Bible says it's an actual goal. So gold, so our talents. So God gave it to three different people. He gave 5 to 1, 2 to 1, and 1 to 1, depending
Hmm.
on their abilities. That's what the word of God says. So depending on what they are able to capacity, God gave them gifts. And what the first one
Yeah.
did was, who had 5, went and actually traded it. The word is trading, which is
Yeah.
investing. So, and we are talking about this is 2000 years ago. you know, wisdom from 2000 years says that that person traded, invested
Yeah.
it. And oh,
And got
this
five more.
similarly, the one who had 2 talents again invested, traded. The one who had just 1 talent was so scared and was afraid of the master. And what he did is went and buried his talent.
Yeah.
And you can think of the talent as a figure of speech. You can think of it as
Hmm.
opportunities. You can think of it as your giftings. And of course,
Hmm.
people, sometimes like to interpret the Bible. Oh, but God's just talking about, our, our giftings. But actually, God
Hmm.
actually said it's about money, really. So
Yeah.
you can take it as that way, but it is about God was talking about money, really. And then
Yeah.
when the master returned, he said, well done, you faithful servants,
Yeah.
to the first one and the second one who was, when they invested, they got double. And
Yeah.
God says, well done for that. So because that's the, and the master's heart is that you, what talents he's given you, you've
Yeah.
used it and you've invested it, you've made the world a better place, or whatever way you want to interpret it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So but the last person God told, and that's the scariest part, the master said,
Yeah.
you are, you wicked servant, you slothful wicked servant, like you lazy person. You knew that I would be coming back. I look at things where,
Hmm.
I try to harvest where I've not reaped and sowed and things like that, and yet you knew that, and you didn't do anything about it. The least
Yeah.
you could do, even again, the parable says, the least you could do was put it in a bank.
Hmm.
So wisdom from 2000 years says like that. Although I would say don't put it in a bank. Or if you're putting it in a bank, put in a high savings. There are these high savings accounts which you can use, like people here use it for buying property and things like that. Yes,
Hmm.
that's easily, but don't put it in a current or normal savings. But what I'm trying to say is, even then, it says you have to save.
Hmm.
You should have
Yeah.
at least done that, and you would have had something.
Yeah.
And that's what God says. So from my point of view, God wants us, very clearly says that we need to invest. So
Yeah.
I think budgeting from my point of view is a scarcity mindset. It
Hmm.
comes from fear. It comes
Hmm.
from like saving, keeping everything, thinking, oh, what if? But what
That's
if
true.
this
Yeah.
was to happen? To a
Yeah.
certain degree, yes, you need to do something, you need to have
Yeah.
something. But then,
Yeah.
you shouldn't be only doing that. You should be investing and reaping the returns. And then
Hmm.
the mindset comes because people think money is evil, but it's not money that's evil, it's the love of money. If you
Ah,
know what to
that's
do
right.
about
Yeah.
the money, if if the Father knows our hearts, and if our hearts are
Hmm.
good, if our minds are towards the kingdom and things like that, and making other people's life better, then that's
Yeah.
fine. Your
Yeah.
heart is good, and then you will be rewarded for that. So what I heard someone, Zig Ziglar, said that money just, I'm just paraphrasing, I can't remember exactly what he said, but what Zig Ziglar
Hmm.
said is like, money is not necessarily bad. Money just amplifies who you are. So
Hmm.
if you are miser, if you didn't want to help people, it will be
Hmm.
that when you get money, you're going to be like that. But if you are somebody who wants to make a difference in this world, that's just going to amplify that. And that's what Zig Ziglar
Yeah.
said. And, it was a fantastic, what he actually said is the absolute truth. And I think a lot of people are scared that money will change you. But just
Hmm.
actually, money doesn't change you. Money just amplifies who you are.
Just
Yeah.
quickly, I just want to add into that. As a chef, we
Hmm.
use knife for everything, but with the
Hmm.
same knife, people use for some other reasons. Am I right? So
Yeah.
is the knife is bad, or the person who uses the knife in a different way? I use the same knife, and I am a chef, so it plays a
The
big value.
intentions.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
what you
That's
have in
true.
your
Yeah.
hand, the way you use it makes a
Hmm.
difference. Simple as that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's so true. Uh, just like how you said, Dr. Susie, one thing that I started thinking was, apart from budgeting, even in budgeting, everybody says you need to keep something separate so that you can invest, so that you can make that money grow. And from that, what happens is we get an abundance mindset. Then we don't have to worry about giving, right? To help others, to support, right? And on top of that, that is a blessing because we thank God, right? We're grateful. The intention, like how you said, the intention is all that matters. If you're not doing anything wrong and you're doing it the right way, and to support your family or for anybody that you need to support, then there should be no issue. So thank you so much for sharing that, especially Lewis, the last part that you said about the knife. That's really amazing.
Thank you.
All right, the next one. So, Lewis, this is directed at you. So, I know that Dr. Susie, when she started the business, she was this fiery woman doing the business, she was just going at it. And then we had Lewis coming in from last year, right? I was like, wow, that's amazing. I'm sure, obviously, Dr. Susie saw the opportunity. She believed in it, she did it, and she was doing well. But what is it that exactly made you, Lewis, believe that, okay, you know what? Maybe I should also join her. I should become her business partner, apart from being the beautiful life partner that you are. So, what is it that pushed you out of that skeptical zone? It was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be her partner in the business.
To be very honest, initially I was not interested. I didn't like it. I'm being very honest. I just have nothing to hide because I was thinking
Hmm.
like, Amanda, what we are doing, especially with her, like she's a doctor. She studied for it for like nearly 12 to 13 years, and like
Hmm.
I know like she started doing the property business also. I mean like I
Hmm.
don't, I won't say it didn't work out, but she had
Hmm.
to physically move out after doing an 8 hour shift coming home. She doesn't even
Hmm.
used to spend time with us. Of course she was
Hmm.
pushing for the property business, nothing wrong in it. Anything you do it with whole your heart, it works out. But for me it's
Yeah.
like, you're man, like, you're a doctor, you're GP, you're like, we thought I'm settled, I'm a private chef, I'm earning a decent
Hmm.
money and all this stuff. But she went on going through that, but I made it to stop that. And then one
Hmm.
fine day I started looking at what is this new. I told her it might be scam, anything to do with internet. I was like that because you know how the world
Hmm.
is, right? You don't know
Yeah.
who's what they're doing, others. The first thing is like that, how we investing money into it. Do you know that, are we throwing the money into the crocodile's mouth? It's like that's the way I used to talk. I was not happy, to be very honest,
Yeah.
because it was really, it's as if it was not designed for her. I was like, let's stick on,
Hmm.
let's be and
Hmm.
play safe. That's what I meant to say. Let's be safe.
Hmm.
God has blessed us. See, you wanted a good job in UK as a doctor. See, you are. So just be quiet
Mm.
and let's run a decent family. I mean, like, we want to spend good time. So these
Yeah.
things were going on. But one fine day, like she said, I lost my job, and
Mm.
I
Yeah.
didn't know how much she was earning and all this stuff like that. But one fine day, she said, "Look, this is what I got." And I didn't believe. I was like, "This
Mm.
must be just joking." Then I slowly started to dig out in the Facebook what she does, and then I understood it's not scam, because it's not one or two. I started seeing a lot of people talking about this,
Mm.
especially your team and
Yeah.
everything. Then I thought, okay, maybe this is time for me to step in, but I didn't have any knowledge and everything like that. But like I said, like, she went on do so many things, but this clicked out. Another thing what made me to realize that I mean, the truth is, I was happy is she didn't have to go out anywhere physically,
Mm.
door to door or nothing. She used to just come back from work, of course, tired and all this stuff. She just sits in front of the computer for a few hours, which was making me more comfortable, yeah, rather than she going out. She's sitting
Mm.
at home and doing, and she's able to spend her time also with us. Another main thing
Mm.
is, like, I just love photographies. I used to literally beg. I used to beg for one picture. Can you please? Can you please? It's like, but now suddenly, from, like, I don't know what happened to her. She's like, everything. You sit and take a picture. You walk. I'm like, that's what I thought. Like, are we trying to show off that we are doing so much thing? Then it's no, it's not about this thing. It's like, it's
Mm.
connecting people and showing that
Mm.
we are not some born billionaires on us. We are ordinary people. We do have
Yeah.
struggles. We are like other
Yeah.
mundane people who keep doing the mundane things. So that really made
Yeah.
me to step into and this thing. And I always tell to people, like I said in the beginning, it's like something you have to give to the world. So I thought, like, why can't I join with it? And
Mm.
whatever it is, in the end, it's money. Yeah,
Yeah.
we should not forget that money plays a big role. Money plays a big role, because it's the way God has designed us. Like she said, if you have the money, if you use the money in a nice way, it's amazing. It can be a blessing. Others, it is. So I said, we started seeing money too, which is like, which is really good, sitting at home just in front of the screen. Of course, it does, money's not going to fall from the sky. You have to do push on the ads
Yeah.
and all the stuff she's doing like that. But I thought, okay, why can't we do it? So I joined, and I'm seeing the fruit now, where we are able to enjoy more time with my daughter and more time with
Yes.
my wife, and she's also spending time with us like that. But that's one of the main reasons made me to join.
Yeah, he I still remember. He's like, "Can you take photos?" And I'll be like, "No, no, I don't want to, you taking my photos. I am tired. I can't keep smiling. Just stop it." And he just loves. Then he used to go take scenery because none of us pose. So now that was one of the things. He loved it because I was asking him, "Okay, take my picture, take my picture." And then the other thing he loved is, which he's not mentioned, is I was telling him, okay, let's go here, let's go there. And we used to go
Ah.
as a family. So the thing is,
Right.
other businesses, there was no family involvement. In this
Mm.
business, we actually go as a family to places.
Yeah.
Like last year, we went 5, 6 vacations, really. Like,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
every weekend we used to travel to different parts of, short drives, like 1, 2 hours, just go there, enjoy, take some pictures. I might take an ad, and it was like every weekend. So he loved it. So he was like, wow, we're making money, and plus she's actually spending time. Because previously, I remember, he'll say, let's go. I'll say, I'm too tired, I don't want to go anywhere, I just want to sleep and watch Netflix. And that's what I used to do.
Irritated.
And he used to get irritated, because for me, I was like, why don't you understand? Like, I've done, like, I paid for 8 hours, and I've done like
Mm.
10 hours, and I come, and now I just want to be left alone and watch Netflix.
Yeah.
But this was
Yeah.
different because we were going places and things like that. It was just amazing.
Because
And
the
earning
whole
money.
family
And
becomes
earning
your
money
team. Yeah, your
as
whole
a
family
byproduct.
becomes your team. Yeah, and he's seeing that you're happy and you're
Yeah.
there for them, that, and that makes it just wholesome, isn't it? Makes it much better. So that's amazing. Actually, the same thing my husband used to tell me when I used to work as structural engineer. I didn't have time on the weekdays. Weekdays were just completely gone off in work. Weekends as well, I used to go for work. So he used to never say that, oh, you don't get to spend time with us, but always you say that is, you're always tired. You're always tired. If like what, even if I get some time, I wanted to sleep because I had to, make up the time that I lost without sleeping because I was always tired. And then now he sees me saying, just like how you said, Dr. Susie, let's go there, let's take pictures, let's do this, let's do that. And he's like, oh my God, this is a new wife.
A
So yeah.
completely personality shift for me, really, because he
Yeah.
knows, like, I don't like, actually I never like anything to be in front of the camera, like
Mm.
talking in front of people. For me to be,
Yeah.
I'm doing one of the roles I do as a GP is in management. I went into
Mm.
management 15 years after starting my career, just because I hated politics, but I was thinking that
Mm.
will
Yeah.
make me financially free. So the intention of me becoming a manager was completely wrong intention. I thought that will make me financially free, which it didn't. It
Yeah.
made me even more busy. So
Yeah.
yeah, really. So going up the career ladder, I learned it the hard way that it doesn't make you financially free
Same.
or time free.
Same. Same here. So when I was let go of from work, I was a senior structural engineer. And at that point, that's exactly what I did as well. Work really hard, do this, do that, so that I can climb up the ladder. And I remember my manager telling me, Ritu, if you think you climbing up the ladder is going to make you have some time, you're wrong. You're wrong. You get paid more, but you have to spend more time in the office. So I didn't understand it then, but now I do. If you need to have a life which is wholesome, having time with your family, having financial freedom, time freedom, having the time to take care of yourself, and also, most importantly, what I was missing on while I was working was not to be able to spend time with the Lord, not able to go to church, not able to take my little one to Sunday school. I was such a huge void. I felt like this was completely wrong. Now I'm able to do all this, and I feel like, you know what? Now I'm living a life. Finally. So, Dr. Susie, thank you so much, and Lewis, for all that you've shared with us. But before you leave, Dr. Susie, can you please tell our viewers, like, what do you think they can take away from this chat? We've said so many things about how this business has changed your lives, our lives, in fact. And how did Lewis become, from a skeptical spouse to this beautiful business partner? All this we've discussed. What is the one thing that you'd like to tell them that they can take away from this session, think, and probably take action about their finances?
Yeah, for us, it's like we were just following the mission, and then the commission followed. Like, we just, for me, from the business, I learned how to prioritize what's really important, and that's family, community.
Yeah.
And once I did that the right way, the money was just a byproduct. The self development, like what Lewis said, I absolutely, I came into Facebook itself because my parents were in Facebook. I started joined WhatsApp because my parents were in WhatsApp. I was that
Yeah.
bad. So,
Hmm.
you can be really bad. You can be not tech savvy. I remember during the
Yeah.
pandemic, because I teach medical students, I had to do a
Hmm.
video for them or something like that. And I didn't know how to do it. And my daughter was helping me because I don't know. And now I'm much better than anyone in the family to do all those sort of things. So as a person I've developed, it's made me more confident.
Hmm.
So it's not all just about, because money is important. Yeah. Anyway,
Hmm.
he told the right thing. So he came into the business because he saw the money, and he's like, oh, I want to also join so we can earn more money. So money is important, even though he came for saying that. But for me, it was, I think for me, the money is just a byproduct, and a good byproduct, by the way. But for me, it's how I've changed as a person and how I've grown as a person.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
what we are here to offer is, we can offer that to you. You
Hmm.
can, don't, because all of us spend time on social media. On an average, in a survey that was done last April, they said an
Hmm.
average person spends 2.5 hours a day scrolling on social media.
Yeah.
Me and Ritu, we still do that. We scroll, but we scroll with a purpose. I scroll
Hmm.
When I scroll social media, I make money. So instead of wasting time binge watching Netflix, don't get me wrong, I've done it, and sometimes when I'm really tired, even now I still do it. But but there is a filter. There is a filter. I think it's all
Yeah.
about balance, isn't it? Before, I used to
Yeah.
come back tired, don't want to talk to any of them, just watch, then sleep, go back to work, and that's not life. Because one
Mm.
thing that the pandemic taught me is you can't take life to granted. You don't know,
Yeah.
your days are numbered by the Lord. Everyone has their day that they need to go, and we don't know when it is. So
Yeah.
thinking that I'll work for 40 years and then I will then go on a world tour, it may not happen. One thing is, we don't know whether you
It's
will
true.
be alive that long. Another thing is, what if you're not well enough to do it that time?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you shouldn't be dying as a person with regrets that God has given you this beautiful life and you've not enjoyed it. And
Yeah.
that's the regret that I didn't want to have. And the pandemic was an eye opener for me.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity that is in front of you. There'll be two type of people who will just look at this, not even research it, and say it's a scam immediately. And then there'll be others who would be intrigued by this interview and want to
Yeah.
take the next step. So if that
Mm.
is you, wherever you're watching, whether it's my page or Ritu's page, please get in touch with us. It doesn't cost you anything to get the information and to do your
Yeah.
research, and just see whether this is for you. It may be not, but what if this was a lifetime opportunity? For us, it's been life changing. Louis doesn't do full time anymore, he freelances. I've cut down my sessions and all that, and we spend more time as a family, go on vacations.
Yeah.
That was not possible when we were working full time, either because even if you have the money, you will not. Oh no, no, you can't take off that time. No, you cannot
Mm.
take off that only these many days. You've taken once already during school holidays. Why are you asking for more holidays during school? Now there's none of those business for us. We go when we feel like going.
Yeah.
It's and I have to say, it's all because of the business. And
Yeah.
you can't put a price on that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you so much for sharing all this, and for all of you watching this. Just like how Dr. Susie said, we are very blessed. We feel blessed that God has actually shown this opportunity for us, and we are trying to share it with all of you. Something that we have found, we'd like to share this with you. And something that I always say in everywhere when I talk about the business is, I wish I saw this before. I saw this earlier, you know? So I don't want you guys to miss this opportunity. We're sharing the blessings that we have with you. Like how Dr. Susie said, if you're interested, please do get in touch with us, and we're very happy to share it with you and guide you towards building a business that'll help you create the life that you want to live. So, once again, thank you so much, Dr. Susie and Louis, for this
Thank you.
amazing chat. Louis, you rocked.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Dr.
Ritu.
Susie, as always, you're a superstar.
Thank
And
you.
thank you so much to all the viewers who've been watching this live. I can see that there are a couple of people who've watched, and some people are still watching us. So thank you all for watching and supporting both of us in our business pages and in the business in general. Thank you all. God bless, and have a beautiful day ahead, or a great night, or a great evening. God bless.
God bless.
God bless you. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.